3
Yep.
of our question and answers. Your turn.
Okay, whipping out the science goggles.
Yes.
All right. How are jobs? Well, I'll just say we asked questions on Facebook and on the last of the videos, and so these are some of the answers or some of the questions that you guys sent in. So, how are jobs determined in the hive?
Oh, me. Okay. Usually by birth. There really is. There's 3 types of bees. There's a queen bee, which they make her a queen from birth. It has to do with age and necessity and what they feed her. She's just a regular bee, just like a female bee, regular bee in the hive. What makes her different is what they feed her. They feed her royal jelly, and they give her bigger room to grow.
And her enormous butt.
And her enormous butt. Then there are drones, which are the male bees, which their only purpose is to mate. And they don't even make the winter. Their sisters will kick them out. They're just there to mate with queens.
And it sounds okay. It sounds funny, but we actually saw all the drones booted out at in the last week of September. They'd all been hoofed out of the hive to the back.
It's a little sad, but on the other hand, that's the way they go.
They're not going to be in there playing Xbox and eating Cheetos. All right.
Exactly. But for the worker bees are all female. And they have designated roles from birth. When they're first born, before they begin to fly, they are nurse bees in the hive. As they get older, they become forager bees. So it's really the stages of life.
Yeah, the oldest bees that you see are the ones that are going to be flying around collecting the pollen on their little chubby legs.
And by the time they're collecting pollen, their life span is quite short already. It's the last couple weeks of their life.
Yeah. They don't live much. About 2 months is about the life cycle of an average worker.
Yeah, 42 days, isn't it?
And Spooky wants to be a director just in case the camera starts wiggling.
Yeah, our cat is kind of playing with the tripod there.
All right, how do the bees react to honey harvesting?
Not well. No, it actually what it determines. Like we had a real problem this year, but we didn't realize what was going on. We were in a drought from the middle of July, so that seriously impacted the honey gathering, the nectar gathering of the honeybees, and they got really hostile when we started taking their honey, to the point where we were like, we don't know what's going on. And had we realized that, we would have started feeding them right away, but we weren't sure because there were still flowers in the field, and everything looked great, but they knew that those flowers were dry.
Yeah, and as soon as we started feeding them, they calmed right down.
Yeah, and normally, in a good year with proper weather, they're a little perturbed. It takes them 2 to 3 days to get back to it, but they're not really bothered because they have a ready source of food and they can just replace what's been taken. But last year was not. It was rough.
Yeah. So knowing what we know now, if it's dry and crunchy the next time we go to harvest honey, provided that they have honey, then we will immediately flip the sugar syrup buckets right onto them. We'll just let them start feeding right away, because if we're done with the honey harvesting, they can fill their little stocks with syrup as much as they want.
Yeah.
We don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So how often can you collect honey?
Depends. Again, what's the year like? We heard last year there was a lady in the area who has very well-established hives, and she was collecting at the beginning of July, and she collected again at the end of July. Technically you can get about 3 harvests of honey. Spring honey, summer, and fall. But last year we just did the one, because it was our first year, and the bees really needed it more than we did.
Yeah, and we were still establishing our colonies.
Yeah.
And I mean, by the end of the year, we had 3 tiers on all our colonies, and they had produced honey, and they'd drawn out their comb, and they'd done a lot in that short, tiny span of time we had.
Also, we were more interested in them building honeycomb, because honeycomb really is the building blocks. If they don't have honeycombs, they have to build the honeycomb before they can get the honey. So having a store of honeycomb for bees or for starting new colonies is really what it's all about. This year we're anticipating, if our bees make it, that it will go, even if they don't actually, it will go
Yeah.
way easier because we have all the comb already.
Yeah.
So despite the problems of last year, our bees did just phenomenally well.
Why does smoke calm the bees?
It doesn't. It's a fallacy. It calms, it distracts them and keeps them away from you. But what they're going to do is when it's smoking in the hive, they think danger, so they go and start eating the honey, and they stop paying attention to you. So that looks like, oh, it's calming them down. No, it's not calming them down. It's actually agitating them.
It's forcing them into binge eating.
Yeah. So it actually, that's why checking your hives too often and smoking them like that can cause them. Well, they just don't do as well because they're they have to repair all the damage and they have to make up for all the lost stores because they've eaten all of this honey.
They have to barf it all up again.
And they don't actually. We know that the honey stomach is different from the GI tract. So if they're eating all the honey, they have to go and get more.
Yes, but they're eating. Well, no,
They don't barf it up,
Okay.
and they don't poop it.
No, they don't poop honey.
Yeah, no.
Somebody wrote, do they poop? No,
They don't poop honey.
No, we'll just put that out there.
They have a
No.
separate stomach for the honey. So they take the nectar and it goes into a specific sac, and then it comes back out. It's not their digestive system at all. That's separate.
Yeah, and the honey that they eat when they're panicking, that's the runaway honey, so they actually would barf it up again. All right. So, other than the bees disappearing, why did you decide to do this?
We've always wanted to.
Yeah, bees disappearing had really nothing to do with it.
No.
Bees appearing in my life is what mattered, and your life.
In my life.
We needed bees in our lives.
Ever since I was little, I would see the bees at at the highway and stuff like that in our community, and I've always wanted to keep bees. I don't know why. I've always wanted to. I had severe bee envy. Honey was readily available. I could just call whoever up who had bees and get honey. It wasn't that. It was just I've always wanted to keep bees. I don't know why. It's just been a thing. And so one day we were talking, and my sister said the same thing. She's always wanted to keep bees, and I'm thinking, well, and both of us thought, well, why don't we?
Yeah, this was the autumn of 2017.
Yeah.
It was October, and I'm like, you want to keep bees? And she's like, yeah, you want to keep bees? I'm like, yeah. So we signed up for the course at the University of Manitoba, Beekeeping for the Hobbyist, and we
learned a lot.
We learned a lot, and we drove down there in minus 30-degree weather, and we
every Wednesday night,
and so now we're all educated regarding beeses.
Yeah.
And so we can answer this next question.
Okay.
Are they black and yellow or yellow and black?
Black with yellow.
They're black with yellow, yes. If you shave a bee, it's all shiny black.
Yeah. I don't recommend it.
They don't like it.
They don't like it.
They don't like it.
But yeah, that's how you can tell if they're diseased or not, because there's one disease that gets them to rub off all their hair. So if you get bees that are usually black and yellow, all of a sudden turning black, it probably means that they've got.
It also makes
I can't
other
remember what it is.
nosema. It also makes other bees attack them and bite them, which spreads the disease because their fur isn't fur. They're actually tiny little almost blood vessels they're full of hemolymph, which is their version of blood. And so that they get bitten off and then it gets transferred that way. Yeah. But that's a conversation for another time. It's all weird and stuff. So, do different types of bees target different flowers or petals?
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Sweat bees and leafcutter bees.
Oh, okay.
Different types of bees. Yeah. Leafcutter bees love roses.
Yeah, they do. And they're stingless, but they do bite.
Yeah.
But
they have little munchy feet.
And I have to say, if you're looking to, increase pollinators in your area, they're a wonderful alternative because you don't need really hive. Like you don't need to maintain a hive. You can just set up. You can get these little, even Costco sells them, a little house, and they have tiny little tubes, and those are for leafcutter or mason bees.
Yeah.
And they're great for the garden. They're stingless, as I said.
Yep.
And great pollinators.
Yep, they take the leaves, they chew them up, and they pack them into the little holes, and then they lay an egg, and then they do it again, and then they do it again, and then the little eggs hatch out, and you got more bees. Mm-hmm. So.
And you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's they're very self-sustaining, and the different holes attract different types.
Yeah.
So do they stay in their section? No. They're bees. They're not unionized.
Yeah. But I have to say too, like we do see a lot of leafcutter bees on our property. They are going after the same flowers as the honeybees. Yep. They do not fight. Nope. So there is some, when bees are looking for food, they're looking for food. they all play nice together.
Yep.
Not like those yellow jackets.
Is going home to the wrong hive a problem? Technically, it's called drift.
Yes and no. Which
Right.
one do you want to do?
Yeah, do you want to do yes and no?
No.
And the second one is how do they find home? Well, these two things are linked.
Okay, so let's do. Oh, what do you want to do?
Well, what do you want to do? After you. No, after you. No, after you. No, after you.
Okay, let's talk about how they find home first, and then we can talk about the differences, why they might go to different hives.
Well, you know how some people have commented on some of our videos that we have very pretty hives, all nice different pastel-y colors in different organizations? That's for the bees.
Yeah.
It's not because I have some interior or exterior designer that's just trying to get out. No, I don't.
Anyway, they find their hives both by pheromones and visually. Same reason, as I said in video 1, why they might sting you. Either by the look or by the smell. So yeah, a young bee, when she's ready to fly, will come out of the hive, turn around, and view the position of her hive, and look, and yes, they do see colors. So she'll be able to see the pattern. And she'll know the smell. So when she gets close to that pattern, she'll start to smell her queen and go in. That's how they find their hives. However, sometimes bees will go to other hives. Why?
If you move the hive! That's the big one.
Yeah, moving the hive.
Some people think that moving the hive a few inches won't do any harm, but they have locked in, when they fly out in the morning, they look back, they take a look at it, they make a picture, they take a snapshot. They're like, okay, that's my hive, and there's the tree, and there's the sun, and there's the other tree, and there's a rock. And so they take that whole panorama in, and they can see in a lot of different spectrums that we can't see.
Yeah.
And then they fly away. So, in the meantime, if you've been moving things around and you just shift it over a few inches, they come back, they're like, all right, tree, rock, house is not where it's supposed to be, house is not where it's supposed to be. So unless you have an open entrance at the bottom, they're going to fly past it, get confused, come around, probably find their way in, hopefully, but they're looking for an exact pattern.
So the question is going to the wrong hive a problem? It depends. Where are they going? If they are looking to defect and just join a new hive, and they bring food, pollen sacs or nectar, the bees let them in, and they're like, welcome. However, if they're going to rob it,
They brought snacks.
yeah, they brought snacks. You can come in. It's just like, you know, when you're having a party, did you bring snacks? Well, come on in.
Yeah.
But if they're going to rob it or take the honey, if they come empty-handed, they will be attacked.
Yeah. And boot it out.
Yeah.
First they try and get you, the guard bees will shoo them out, and then if they insist on coming back, then a fight kicks off.
Yeah.
Alright, now how many breeds / types of honeybees do you have?
Us? Well, we've got 4 different types that we got from Scott Creek Honey Farms. We got the Saskatraz bees, and we have Hive A, which we don't know. Oh, in Wonderland, sorry, that's 5. So, 6, 7. We have 7 different types. Well, no, 6, because
6.
we had to... Hive A. What the heck, Hive A?
Yeah.
It's always been our problem child right from the beginning. We had a hodgepodge of bees going in, which was not a problem, but it just didn't want to accept a hive. Finally, going into the winter, I guess they realized, oh, we gotta get on this, and they have a queen. We have no idea
Who's in there?
what queen is in there. We're pretty sure it is a Scott Creek.
It could be a wasp and drag. We have no idea what's in there and in charge.
Yeah, so we're pretty sure it's a Scott Creek honey farm because coming towards the end of fall, we put some baby brood in there.
Yeah, we grabbed brood from hive, I think it was 4, and we moved it over.
So we have 6 different kinds of bees that we know of. Anyway, I'm quite happy with that.
Well, we have enough genetic diversity
Yes.
to not have to worry about inbreeding in our, like if we have a new queen and she goes on a maiden flight and, you know, she runs into drones, they're all going to be our drones, but we have a lot of different bloodlines going on, so it's not a huge deal. So, yeah, so we don't have to worry about inbreeding, and we get a lot of nice crossbreeding. And hopefully, hopefully, we're hoping that everybody comes out of winter okay. Even after what I said about Saskatraz 1, but still, all right, okay. All right, I'll choke down that rage. All right. Sorry, it really hurt. they have the Saskatrazes have the nastiest, stabbiest tails. All right.
She's not over it.
I'm not over it. I'm not over it. I don't even know if I ever put up that video, but you know what? Ow.
Just to clarify for those of you who may not know, she's got about 4 stings last year. 3 of them were from our Scott Creek Honey Farm bees, and one, yeah.
2 were from the New Zealand bees at the university. 1 was from the Scott Creek Honey Farm bees.
Okay, and then 1 was a Saskatraz bee. The Saskatraz are a hybrid for our rough winters here. They're a beefier bee. They are, like from what we can see, I mean, they are stronger, bigger.
Butch.
When the other bees hit you, there's kind of like a tap. When the Saskatraz hits you, it's like a punch, and you're like, what the heck?
May I demonstrate?
No.
Okay.
So when they stung her right through her jeans. And it was not pleasant.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
All right. Okay, now back into this the serious questions. If more than 1 queen is born into a hive, what happens to the extras? Are they killed off? Do they leave the hive to start their own colony?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Do I want to take no, or do you want me to do yes?
Do whatever
All
you
right.
want.
So let's see. Do they leave the hive to start their own colony? Generally, no. However, there's always a however. Sadly, if it is during the splitting season where the queens hatch and then they fly out, and you're just letting them fly, if you're letting like nature take its course, then they will allow the younger queens to continue to hatch. Because the older queen flies off with the first batch of foragers. You know, they all take off en masse.
About half the hive.
About half the hive, half to whatever, half to a quarter to a third, a chunk, a goodly chunk. A few, 10,000 or so, just take off. And then after that, the next queen is hatched, and she's like, okay, well, I kind of like it here. And then she's like, you know what? I think there's another one hatching down there. I don't really want to kill her. She will take off with the next chunk of bees, slightly smaller. And they will just swarm off, literally. One swarm after another swarm after another swarm until the hive is left almost naked with like 1 queen left to hatch. And then she'll start the process of building the hive all over again.
Yes.
So we, being annoying beekeepers, we sneak in there and we...
Kill them.
I was going to say we alter nature's course. Killing them would do it, but...
I may have misspoke.
I was trying to be nice.
But also what can happen, well, first of all, we don't want our bees to swarm, because then we're losing all our bees.
And the neighbors might get pissed.
Yeah, and they're absconding. Where are they going? Well, we don't know, but we don't have them anymore. But another thing that bees do is if a queen is failing, they hedge their bets and they'll start up 5 queens, and the soonest born wins and goes and kills all her sisters. So that happens as well. Really depends on how big is the hive, what are the circumstances, etc., etc. There's a lot of variables to this. And I mean, we've only been doing this for a year. Most of our stuff is book learned. Most of our information is book learned.
And by watching really good and bad YouTube videos.
Yeah. So we still got a lot to learn to how to recognize these things. One of my favorite videos, and it's really sad because it's like from the 1980s. It's beekeeping in the heathland, and is a family who's kept bees for how many generations, and they keep them in skeps, the original skeps, and they show them turning them over and looking and finding 3 or 4 young queens.
Yeah. All in one hive.
I've never seen that. I've never heard of that with our research. So that is something really interesting. So I can't answer you. Could be something just to skeps. I don't know, but it does happen. But it's not typical. It's not what people teach. So.
Yeah, we try and stop them from doing that, so it shouldn't happen in theory. But in a healthy hive, if they just needed a replacement queen, they will hatch one, and she will come out and she will stab all her sisters to death. Yeah. So, like in hive A, the first day we got it, it had a queen cell on it that was about, 4 or 5 days from hatching. And what did I do? I killed it. Why? Because I didn't want a swarm situation on day 1.
Yeah.
Literally on day 1.
Because they will make queens for whatever reason.
And
These were bees that we didn't know.
we didn't know they hated her. We didn't know they hated their own queen.
They were a whole hodgepodge of bees. Like there were different
Yeah.
types of bees all in the same colony, and so we didn't know what the problem was. Why were they rejecting their queen? So we didn't want them to supersede her too early. Sometimes it is just a misunderstanding, and when the weather settles down and they settle in, then everything is good again, and they're fine. That didn't happen,
No.
and they really hated her.
Yeah.
And I think they eventually just killed them themselves because we kept killing their queen cells.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did. From that hive, I think we found over 14 queen cells at one point.
Yeah. They got desperate. They were just sprouting everywhere like
And then we noticed that they
broccoli.
were queenless. We could hear the difference in the hum. And they were queenless for a very long time. So I think what had happened is they hatched a queen, and either it didn't come back.
I think their queen killed it.
I don't know.
I think-
Anyway,
yeah,
there was no queen for a while, so we finally gave them eggs and just left them alone and let them.
It
And
took
they
3 tries.
but they did come back, and they were just towards the end of the summer or the fall. They were just going gangbusters, and they were
Yep.
really working hard. So it was like
Yeah.
something worked, and we just left them alone. We thought whatever, it is what it is.
Yep.
So-
And all
That
right.
was the only really problem hive that we had.
Yeah,
it was
it
a
was.
problem for day one.
It was, you know, the problems that we had with some of the other hives, like Saskatraz 1, I bought it, and I didn't check underneath it, which was stupid.
But
Because
you
there
were
were three-
told by what we considered a reputable beekeeper that it had been checked, and
Yeah.
we didn't realize he had lied.
Yep.
So
Yeah, he treated them and gotten them ready for sale, and he'd left every single dead bee in the bottom of that hive,
yeah,
and so the existing bees could not get out. They were trapped. You know, the whole entrance and bottom level was trapped by dead bodies.
yeah, it was an angry hive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were the ones who got me.
yeah.
So, but yeah, no, we managed to get all of the hives up to two hive bodies. We had
Full
them
of honey for
full
the
of
winter,
full of honey for the winter. They all had 75 to 100 pounds of honey going into the winter.
and we made sure to feed them pollen all the way along, so they had no reason not to lay eggs. And
Yeah.
they were well. We cared for them well as best as we knew
We didn't
how to
feed them
do.
pollen.
Yeah, we did pollen patties.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I completely forgot about the
Yeah.
pollen patties. They
Yeah.
always had a pollen patty on them if they
Yep.
weren't
If it ran
active
dry,
with honey.
it was on there.
Yeah.
So.
So and yeah. So so now we get to the point where we talk about this year, 2019. What are our hopes and dreams?
Yeah, keep them alive.
We're gonna keep them alive. We're trying to keep them alive.
We want to expand. We want to work on. Well, my dream is here working on the food source for them. Right. Do want to expand bees. We want to make sure that we have a steady flow of food, because although we have native grasses and a lot of pollen sources, it's mostly pasture land. And as we found out this past year in the drought, not a lot of flowers. So I want to make sure that we can sustain a large number of bees, or at least lend them out to fields in the neighboring areas
Yeah.
that can host them for the summer.
And with that in mind, I have purchased some plowing equipment for my 4x4.
We have 80 acres. There's a lot of grass that I'd like to take down and start just planting like not normal, but wildflowers and native flowers in the areas for the bees.
Bee-friendly flowers.
Yeah, something that will last from spring to fall as well. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and expand our bee yard. Expand your orchard. Look at planting. We're going to
Yeah.
try a few different ways of planting. One way is called hugelkultur.
Which
hard
I'm
to
sure
say.
that you've all heard of ad nauseum on, but if you want to see it really half-assed, follow me.
Yeah, and so it's a way. We have a lot of deadwood on the property, and I was looking at it,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What are we doing with all this deadwood?" And I thought, "Hey, hugelkultur is where you basically, and we're gonna half-ass it totally, but we'll see.
I've begun my Hugel mounds. I did it last year. I laid them out.
But we're gonna
and,
see if we can't get that wood working for us, and also,
I have mount mulch to work on.
yeah, I want to build a greenhouse
Yeah.
that
And,
might be able to survive the winter, our winters.
it's like,
We'll see.
and when the bees come get their populations up and running, I want to split them.
Yeah,
And,
we do want to make more bees.
and split them again, and possibly sell some of the splits to make up for the enormous expenditure of the bees.
Yeah,
So
don't.
much money.
It's okay. It's okay.
They hate me so much.
It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, and to everybody who says that you shouldn't have to wear a suit or gloves when you're dealing with your bees, blow me.
We're trying to monetize the channel.
Not yet, we're not. It hasn't happened yet. Sorry, we do get a lot of well-meaning commenters.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a great feeling when you go and yes, no, when the bees have been in a good mood. I've gone in there, just me and sometimes a hood, sometimes not, and I've lifted the frames up and I've done all my checks, and they were feeling good, I was feeling good. It was a very harmonious moment.
Yeah.
And then there are the other days when fiery, sooty air is coming in from the Pacific, and the bees are angry because everything smells like forest fire. And you have to go in there and you have to lift the frames. You still have to check them. Yeah, I'm suiting up for that.
Calm. Find your center. The point is, there are a lot of variables that can upset your bees and cause them to sting. It's
And your sisters.
And when you're living on site with your bees, you can pick and choose the days you go out, but we are limited as to when we can go check the hives. So we have to do that in nasty weather sometimes. I mean, last year I think it was only 2 or 3 times where I felt safe enough to walk around the bee yard without my equipment. The rest of the times it's like, no, I'm wearing equipment. And basically when you're looking after bees, you should never feel pressured to not wear equipment. If that's the way you want to do it, I heard stories of people going and tending their bees naked. Great.
Have at it.
Not me. We have high winds. Like Rael says, we have smoke coming in from other provinces during forest fire seasons, and cloudy or humid weather. Last year was a drought. I'm wearing my suit.
Yeah, droughts, thunderstorms. Inclement weather, coyotes trying to get into the hives. These things make the bees testy, but we still have to engage in the welfare checks, and we still have to treat them for varroa, and we still have to do the oxalic or the formic acid treatments. We still have to keep them healthy even though they don't want it. I am not raising an anti-vaxxer bee around here. They're gonna get their shots, and so to speak. No, they need their treatments, and they need them on time, and they need them at the right time of year. There are certain treatments you can't do it outside of certain temperature zones. So, because the acid has to be able to evaporate and circulate through the hive. If you place it when it's too cold, the acid does nothing. It does not kill the mites, and it just irritates your bees because it's in the way. We use the formic acid pads, and that's all right. It's like, we used the formic acid pads, and they were fine. They actually started to eat the formic acid pads to get rid of them, because they use formic acid in their stingers, and yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so
we're wearing our suits.
So we're wearing our suits. We'll wear the gloves when we need the gloves, and we won't wear the gloves when we don't need the gloves.
I'm wearing my gloves.
And I'll wear the full suit when I'm around Saskatraz 1 and 2 until they get their stuff together. And Hive A is completely docile. They're docile little critters. But the other ones, let's see what their mood is when they come out of winter. Either way, first time we're wrangling them, and when we move them into the new positions, suits will be required. We got a little smug when we were moving them in the wintertime, and we didn't have our headgear on, and sure enough, who knew they could fly at -15? I didn't. Anyway. Alright, so thank you for participating in our question and answer session. If you have any additional questions...
That went weird really fast. Please leave your questions in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and subscribe to our channel.
It would have helped if the cat hadn't have been here making faces the whole time.
Gotcha.
And the weird thing is he only has one face. So, yeah.
Here it is!
There it is. The smuggy face.
The smuggy
The
face!
smuggy
The
face.
smuggy face! Arrgh!
So,
Arrgh, arrgh.
thank you for watching. This is Mystery Bees Apiary.
And this is one of the mystery bees!
And that's one of the mystery bees.
And here's the solution to the mystery. He's not a bee.
He's not a bee. That is the thing. He does have stripes though.
Yeah.
The other one does too, but it's harder to see because he's black.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you again. Because we're Canadian, we can say thank you as many times as we want. Why? It's in our DNA.
Yeah, now we're really going off topic. Just end the video before
Just end the video. I don't want to. I'm having fun.